What's up everyone, Silverpone here, and today is a little bit of a different video because today I want to talk about some One Piece content. Mainly the four modern games that have dropped in the new era, I guess, of One Piece games. And those would be One Piece Burning Blood, One Piece World Seeker, One Piece Pirate Warriors 4, and One Piece Odyssey. So I kind of want to just talk about the future of One Piece games and where they're gonna end up and where they're headed right now. Um, Overall, it seems like every so often, whenever they do come out with a new One Piece game, they do take preparation and care into the game and make it so that the game is a little bit better than its predecessor. Um, One Piece Burning Blood still holds up to me. It's still a very nice game. It's fun, and it's a arena fighter game that you don't really see, One Piece doing a lot, which is pretty cool. The game is centered around mainly just like I said, an arena fighter. They have different modes and things in the game. Let me pull them up real quick. I'm gonna look over them too. Everything you see in this video right now is pre-recorded too, so I'm kind of just recording after the video. But yeah, so you have free battle and online, pirate flag battle, pirate base battle, and paramount war in the collection and wanted versus. All of those modes are essentially the same. All those modes are essentially what the game has to offer. Free battle being free battle, wanted versus being kind of like a bounty hunter thing, like the wanted posters and the One Piece show. Different characters have like a wanted poster, and you have to meet certain requirements in the battle for some of them. Some of them they don't matter. You can just do whatever you want. But yeah, collection is all your items. Paramount War is the actual campaign of the game. And you only get to really play through like the Marineford arc, to be honest, which is a downside, but it's still nice because the game is really mainly focusing on just fighting, and they have characters outside of that arc too, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, that's essentially the entire game. Now the combat is very nice, and even whenever this game came out, I think it was. Let me check that. Okay, so One Piece Burning Blood was released in 2016. Coming from 2016, the gameplay really does still hold up, and you can kind of see it in like the flashiness of the ultimate attacks and the care they took in or put into the game for you to convey the character that you're playing. Like, if I pick Zoro, it really does feel like I'm playing Zoro. If I pick Sanji, it feels like I'm playing Sanji. And they tried to capture it as best they could at the time. And yes, it can be better, but the game is still decent and it's still fun if you play it. Like, you'll have a good time if you're on this game. So I think this game, it still holds up. I think it's worth a play. I don't know what the consensus is for like everybody else. But in my opinion, this game is still pretty fun. You can have a pretty good time on it. Okay, so going to the next game, we have One Piece World Seeker. And World Seeker is a good game. I think personally it conveys the feeling of playing as Luffy better than any other game that there is for Luffy. Or with Luffy in it, I guess you could just say any One Piece game. Because it's an open world game and controlling your character, and you go through and essentially like you have all the abilities that Luffy has except for Gear 4 Snake Man and Gear 5, because this came out before that. But you have all the abilities and everything, and you can run around and traverse the island pretty nicely with Luffy's stretchy arms abilities. However, Luffy is not the main character of this game. There's three other characters too. They were all downloadable content, but there's still three other characters. Those being Zoro, Sabo, and Law. Each of those characters plays a different way within the game, and it's very nice because everyone has to traverse the island a certain different way. Luffy uses his stretchy arms to grab onto things to, stretch and use Gum Gum Rocket. Zoro kind of just runs, and he can climb up walls. Like, he can wall hop. Like, essentially, if he runs up to a wall, like a huge building, he can pretty much just like run up the building. It's kind of like he's jumping really fast. Sabo has flame feet, so he can kind of traverse the land just by like igniting his feet on fire and like shooting up in the sky and making like an arc downwards. Law literally just gets around by room, which is pretty cool too. Um, so yeah, it conveys everything. Like I think Law's room ability in that game is kind of nice. It's slept on. It's kind of the game is a little bit stiff, so don't get me wrong. There's downsides to it. It's not perfect, but still, like, it conveys like the best feeling for you to actually feel like you're playing those characters. Um, I still think Law controls very nice. The room ability is just really nice to me. It's unique. Sabo, Zoro, and Luffy are kind of just, up front, just fighters. Zoro being that he has swords though, which is pretty cool. But yeah, World Seeker, I'd say it's worth a play if you've already played One Piece games before. If you're coming into like World Seeker and you've never really played like a One Piece game, I'd kind of like put it on the back burner for a second, because you kind of need to experience something else. Because while World Seeker is a fun game and it has a lot to offer, it feels very stale, if I do say so myself. The world that you're placed upon or within, it feels very dry. The CPUs, they don't really do a lot of movement, I guess you could say. Like, there's really not a lot of CPUs just around the area or around the island, except for like enemies, which those don't have any dialogue options. But the ones that do have dialogue options, it's none of it's voice acted. None of the cutscenes are really voice acted, honestly. Like, some of them are, but for the most part, when you're talking to like the Straw Hats or something or whatever, it's not voice acted, which is a downside to me. Because if you're trying to feel the immersion of, being in the One Piece world, it kind of breaks it when you can't really hear people talk. And as well, with like a dry world, with like barely any NPCs walking around, you kind of have to go into the city to see NPCs, to be honest. But I wish it was the other way around. Like, I wish they were just everywhere, like along the map, like a true One Piece arc. Like, people are usually everywhere within the islands, so that's pretty cool. But definitely, if you haven't played a One Piece game before, I'd wait to play World Seeker. Just give it a little bit. But if you do have the heart and you are a One Piece fan, definitely give it a play later on after you played something else. I would definitely say play One Piece Burning Blood before World Seeker, to be honest. And coming up next, we have One Piece Pirate Warriors 4. Now, this game is interesting because they have a lot of different aspects of the game, and as well as a lot of controllable characters. It's not the full cast of One Piece, but it's a decent size. Like, you have characters ranging from the Straw Hats to Law to Kid to the Yonkos. I don't know. Yeah, there is Shanks. They do have Shanks in that game. You can even play as like Odin. You can play as Kaido. Like, they have Germa. They have all of Germa. Like, it's just the roster is huge. As I said though, it's not everybody, but it's still huge. And they also have a leveling system in the game too, so it gives you an incentive to play like other characters. So if I wanted to pick like Rob Lucci, or if I wanted to pick like one of Sanji's brothers, like Yanji or something, like, all of them have a different level, so not all of them are going to be around the same strength. They even have Carrot. Like, my Carrot, for example, is like a mid-level character, but if I were to go into like a super hard quest or something, like, she probably would get bodied because she's not that strong. Whereas if I pick my Luffy, who's max level, like, he'll pretty much just storm through the entire mission. And you also have perks. They give you perks in that game to help you out, I guess. Like, they even have like health regen, some super armor stuff, some stamina boosting stuff. So it's pretty cool. Like, the entire game just gives you a lot to do and a lot to like play around. Also the combos, like, they have combo variations in that game that you can also unlock through the upgrade board. And I should have said upgrade board first, but they do have an upgrade board where you can upgrade like base stats of your character, like health, stamina, power, as well as the perks. And you unlock new moves there on the board as well, which is pretty cool. So every character has combo variations you can unlock. They have base boosts that you can unlock, like I said, the health, stamina, power, and they also have like their own move set, like their own special moves. So that game is very, very fun. You could honestly play it for a long time, especially if you have friends. After a while, though, it does kind of feel repetitive because it's essentially putting you into like a lobby with just NPCs that kind of just stand around. Some of the stronger ones do throw out attacks like here and there, but it does get bland after a while. So you kind of have to work around that, and that's not bad, but you know, the gameplay is more so like fast paced, so it doesn't really bother you as much. You're just kind of going in there to storm through the armies of enemies, and that's it, with all the characters and everything you have. I definitely recommend Pirate Warriors 4 for any One Piece fan. It's just like that generic game that like you pretty much have fun with if you got on there. Just, you know, explore the characters and their combos, and you kind of get like a better feel for how characters like move after you kind of see them, like how they combo enemies in the game, which is pretty cool. Even like I think I forgot her name from the Wano Kuni arc. I think it was Okiku. Yeah, she fights pretty nice. Like, I'm not gonna lie. She's fast. Like, she's very, very fast. And I would have never guessed that her fighting style the way it was until I saw her in the game, like, fighting. So that's cool. Oden is very cool to see fight too, because you can kind of see all of his moves and everything he does. As well as Shanks. Shanks is completely busted in that game, but let's be real, in any One Piece game Shanks is in, he's broken. So he's just the hockey god. But yeah, Pirate Warriors 4 gets a 10 out of 10 from me. Or you know what? No. Pirate Warriors 4 gets an 8 out of 10. World Seeker is like a 6 out of 10. Burning Blood for me is like a 7 out of 10. So Pirate Warriors ranks the highest just because I feel like it has the most longevity if you're playing it. Burning Blood is still like the second runner-up, and then World Seeker last place. But like I said, if you're firstly going into World Seeker, you'll probably enjoy it, and you may have more longevity on that game than the others. But finally, One Piece Odyssey. And I think they hit the mark with One Piece Odyssey because they have the dialogue options within the game itself. They're all voice acted. Like, all the dialogue options are voice acted. Granted, there is some intermissions within the gameplay where, you know, the Straw Hats will just kind of be standing around or whatever, and whenever you camp, those, when you talk to them in those situations, it's not voice acted, but it can be forgiven because of all the immense bombardment of dialogue that you get throughout the entire game. You really don't care because you're hearing them pretty much the entire game. This game is just great though, because they have the cinematography, like everything about the game is nice. Like it's kind of presented to you in a way where it's it feels more so like a One Piece like episode, like you're within a One Piece episode. The cutscenes kind of go that way. Even when you're like mid-fight, it kind of just feels like, you know, this is how like the fight would go in the show. I love how the characters like sometimes talk to each other as well, like mid-combat. That's just very nice. A nice little touch there. And the turn-based combat, that's another thing that I need to touch on. I almost forgot about that. I don't know how when that whole game is revolved around turn-based combat, but a lot of people don't like it. But if you were ever considering playing a turn-based game and you've never played one before, give this one a shot, especially if you're a One Piece fan, because it gives you the One Piece skins. It might help you get over that whatever you have, you know, where you don't like to play turn-based games, because I used to be that way as well. I didn't like turn-based games as much, at least nowadays. Back as a kid, I used to play like Paper Mario and stuff like that. Even Pokemon is turn-based, so a lot of people I think love turn-based games nowadays, but if you for whatever reason don't, I don't really know what to say, but I would still give this a try and see if you like it, because like I said, the way they present the dialogue and everything, it feels like a One Piece episode. So you kind of get like the One Piece feel mixed with turn-based combat, which is very, very creative, which I never thought I'd see, but it's there and it's unique. They also have the narrator too. The narrator from the actual One Piece show, it makes it feel just incredible. He narrates like all in between every single arc you do. I love that too. The characters, you would think you would want more characters in a game like that, but you don't get Frankie or Brooke for quite a minute in the game. I think it's until chapter 5 where you get Frankie, and I'm not even where I have Brooke yet on my crew, so I don't know where you get Brooke, but I know you eventually get to play as Brooke. But all the characters, like all the Straw Hats, I should say, they all have a lot of skill moves, like a ton of skills. They have regular base attacks and they have skill moves. The skill moves is where they shine at, because it's all the moves they accrue through each arc when they get stronger. They even have like ultimate attacks between each other, and I don't know, I guess you can call them team attacks, but the team attacks are very nice. Some of them I do feel like they're a little lackluster, but who cares, you know, like their team attacks, they're still cool, they do a ton of damage, like especially if I'm fighting like a big boss and I just need some like high turnover damage, like I can just pop one of the ultimate team attacks and that's just free damage right there. But yeah, if you need an example of why this story is crafted so beautifully and they have all the dialogue options and everything you would ever need, just here's one for you right here.
準備ができたのなら行きましょう。
ちょっと待て、リム。
どうしたの？
先に飯だ。腹減った。
いつものことだけれど緊張感がないわね。
ルフィはどんな時でも食いしん坊なのね。
次はどこに向かうの？
このキューブはマリンフォードというところのようね。ここはどういう場所なの？
俺がエースを助けに行った場所だ。
だったらそのエースを助けることがルフィのすべきことね。
ああ、そうだよな。
ルフィ、お前。
俺なら大丈夫だ、ウソップ。よし、みんな行こう。
Yeah, like you can kind of see why it feels like an episode of One Piece. I do wish I got some more gameplay for this. I only did like 2 fights, but it's because they plopped me right into the Marineford arc, and there's just cutscene after cutscene after cutscene. So that's my fault, but I didn't know that was gonna come up. I was waiting to make a video on it until chapter 6 anyways, because I was thinking that was gonna be Marineford, but I didn't realize that Marineford was gonna be dramatized even harder in this game. which is, you know, with all due respect, like the Ace thing is crazy. So yeah, but all in all, I think all of these games are definitely worth a play. If you've never played them before, just, you know, definitely I would say Art Warriors is, it's beginner friendly. Like if you've never played a One Piece game, it's one of those games that you could just hop on and have fun. One Piece Odyssey, I think, is more so like if you've read the manga or caught up to the anime, or you're watching the anime, because they do cover certain points that are, you know, well within the anime already, within the storyline. But if you are like an avid viewer, like I think you will definitely love One Piece Odyssey. It feels like a hidden gem, to be honest, within the One Piece gaming community. So yeah, I also wanted to just take a second and talk about like the future of One Piece games. Like after seeing all of these, it does seem like they upgrade, you know, after the previous game a little bit. One Piece Odyssey has like all of the mechanics and things that I love for a One Piece game, which being like the cutscenes and the dialogue between characters. That part that One Piece Odyssey has is almost perfected. Burning Blood is more so closer to the fighting gimmick. If they ever did like a Burning Blood 2, I think they would honestly hit the mark and perfect it, and that would be crazy. So if we get like a game in the future that combines like, you know, some of the fighting aspects but a little bit more updated of Burning Blood, as well as the legendary craftsmanship of the story of Odyssey, the way the cutscenes flow and the characters talk to each other, I think we'll have the perfect game. So yeah, this video was kind of like out of my category. I was a little like skeptical of making this video, but I've always wanted to do a One Piece video on the channel, so here it is. And I'll probably do another one later. I specifically want to do another video on One Piece Odyssey just because of how good it is, which I probably will, but it'll be more centered around like gameplay, I guess. So yeah, thanks for watching this video, guys, and if you have any opinions, let me know down below, please. And yeah, take it easy.